Hey guys, Ellie Shostak here. Hope you are doing well. For those of you who do not know, I help singles, those who are um, just entering the dating world or beginning to enter the dating world or want to explore what the dating world is like. And I think it's really, really important to understand how your mind works, how your mind affects your body, how it will affect your entire trajectory of success when it comes to relationships. So, for those of you who do not know, I'm a massive fan of the TV show Survivor. I've been watching it since the first season. Many of you might argue that the show sucks at this point. It kind of does. But either way, I really like the premise of being with these strangers and having to use psychology basically to try and get $1 million as the prize after 39 days of being on an island. And what I really like about the show is that it kind of shows that everyone has the same end goal, which is to get the $1 million, but there have been many different winners over the past 40 seasons, 40? I don't even know, that have gotten the $1 million, but just in different ways, right? Some people get it by lying and stealing, and some people get it by building up trust with others. And usually those seasons where the person gets the $1 million and they don't necessarily lie and cheat and steal, those are the most boring seasons. But for me, I actually love those seasons the most. I think there was one guy, his name was Yule, who won the season of Survivor. It was a very boring season. And why? He won, but he didn't lie. He was very truthful about pretty much everything. And people were like, well, we got to give him the $1 million. So I think that when you're single or you're divorced or you've been to therapists for years and have tried to get into relationships, you're in a constant state of trying to decide what's the best route for you and going for a relationship and how this will work. So one time on the show Survivor, they had this coach from one of the football teams, and he's now an announcer. I think his name is Jimmy Johnson. And when you're on this island, you are not eating, you are not sleeping, you are really just like in a very, very bad state. And they were talking to Jimmy Johnson and they said, like, you know, on the side camera, and they were like, can you just, something had happened in the tribe and why did it happen? And I'll never forget this quote. And I really want you all to remember it, okay? And I just told it to a client yesterday. And the quote is by Vince Lombardi. And the quote is, fatigue makes cowards of us all. Fatigue makes cowards of us all. Okay? So what does that really mean? When you're in a dating situation and you're deciding whether or not to text a person back, you just, let's give you an example. You just went on a date and you really had a great time. You really had a great time. And you don't hear back from the person the next day. Okay? Now, every ounce of you wants to hear from this person. You're almost like thriving on it. You just want to hear like, hey, how's it going? Had an awesome time. I think that you rock or whatever, this and that. Okay? But you hear nothing. So your mind starts to generate thoughts of concern. Now, it really is coming from your survival mode because we have this need inside of us that we want to be with other people, right? So as soon as you don't get that feedback from the other person, you don't realize this, but your brain starts to go into survival mode. And it starts to say, oh, okay, you know, what's going to happen? So should I move on to somebody else? Should I stay with this person? Should I give this another shot? Should I do this? Should I do that? Should I do this? Should I do? Okay. So here's the probably, and most people don't think about this, but here's probably one of the most important factors. If you did not have a good night's sleep the night before you're about to decide whether or not to text this person, get back to them, decide, and I'll give you a bunch of decisions that you're going to be making throughout the dating process, right? If you've come out of bad relationships, quote unquote, negative relationships, and that didn't work for you for various reasons, whether you thought it was their fault, whether it was you thought it was your fault, it doesn't really matter. It all plays in the back of your head. And you now go into this dating world, again, with that need, the survival need of wanting to be with someone, needing to be with someone. If you did not have a good night of sleep, your decision most likely will be made from fear. And when you make decisions from fear, not only do you make decisions that are usually impulsive and not well thought out, but you wind up looking at those decisions later on after you've had a few good nights of sleep, and you either regret them or think to yourself, second guess yourself tremendously. Oh, I should have done this. I should have done that. I should. And you're not realizing, why is it that this is not working out for me? Why is it that I am not getting the relationship that I want? So what I have found in my work with clients who are in the dating world, and in my own life, is that when you have even one night of broken sleep, right, it will affect your entire thought process for the next day, possibly even for future days, okay? And as Vince Lombardi said, fatigue makes cowards of us all. Remember that. Fatigue makes cowards of us all. When you are tired, you go into fear mode. It's just the way the brain works and the way the brain and the body interact with each other. So you go into fear mode because you're lacking that sense of rest. You're lacking that sense of calm and peace. So my recommendation to you is that before you make any decision, okay, before you make any decision in relationships and really in general, but let's just talk with relationships, whether or not you should get back to the person, whether or not you should continue with the person, whether or not you should go out with this person, whether or not you made the right decision about this person. One question: how was my night of sleep last night? Did I get a full 7 to 8 hours of uninterrupted sleep? If your answer is yes, that you got that last night, then I would tell you that the decisions you're about to make could be made from power and confidence and not ones of fear. Sorry about that. So when you do that, then that's what's going to bring you a successful outcome when it comes to decisions. Okay, but if you go ahead and you make decisions based of, should I go out with this person? Should I text him back? Should I text her back? Should I? If you did not have a good night of sleep, make sure that tonight you do whatever it takes. Close the phone, like what I'm trying to do right now in the middle of this live. Okay, close the phone and go ahead and before bed, maybe either read a book or just do some deep breathing. Okay, no distractions before bed, and just relax yourself into that good night of sleep. Then the next day, what you can do is you can come back to this decision of whether or not to text the person, whether or not to. And the likelihood is that if you do this, and I've seen this happen with many of my clients, the likelihood is that if you go ahead and you do this and you actually take the time to get that good night of sleep, you're going to wind up seeing that the person that you weren't sure whether or not you should text, they might have actually texted you already. Just because you're not reacting from fear. And when you lack sleep, you're going to react from fear. And that person that you're not sure whether or not you should continue to date, you might, just by the fact that you've taken this step back and you're going to give yourself that self-care, and you're going to say, okay, I'm getting a good night's sleep, that decision might be made for you, and it will be made from power as opposed to fear. So make sure you get a good night's sleep before you make your decisions, and have an awesome day. If you have any questions, comments, please go ahead and make sure that you let me know, because I love interacting with you. Have an awesome day.